The original title for this session was about the Investor Parole program, which was rolled out 5 years ago, not really in effect, and really ineffective. But the session turned out to be a huge update on the EB-5 program. Two of the biggest names in the EB-5 litigation world, Bernie and Klasko, were there presenting, and here are the key takeaways. Let's get to it. Hi everyone, my name is Joseph Tsang. I'm the managing partner here at Tsang and Associates, where we solve legal problems with creative solutions. The legal problem is the EB-5 investor program. In the past few years, it's been going through a crazy turmoil. In fact, this year, it was just signed into law a few months ago, and people have been waiting a long time for this, and there's some good parts and some bad parts. Let's start with the good. First good news is that it's finally open. The second good news is that you can do concurrent filing, which means you can file the green card and your 45 at the same time, lock in that priority date, get your work permit, maybe in like 4 months, you can travel, and then eventually just wait for the green card to land on your doorstep after everything is done. So instead of waiting to file after it gets approved a couple years later, then you file for the 45, wait another couple years, you can file everything at the same time. The third good news is that this new program even applies to countries with a backlog. So people from China, from India, from Vietnam, and from anywhere else that will eventually have backlogs. This new program, in a way, supersedes the old program, so people can directly start with this new program. The analogy is like you're waiting in line at a supermarket and this other line just opened up. You can just go over. Maybe they should have made it so that people in front can go over, but it is what it is. Now the line is open, you can directly go over and wait in that new line, should you choose. Now here's the bad news. In this new EB-5 program, you can't sue in federal court regarding this EB-5. It doesn't mean you cannot absolutely appeal if your case gets rejected. It just means you have to exhaust all remedies. You have to first file potentially a motion to reopen or directly appeal it to the AAO Immigration Center. That's the first thing you have to do. You cannot just immediately take it and say, I disagree with USCIS and I'm gonna sue you, and just directly take it to federal court. Right now, a lot of cases, you can do that. It's not necessarily encouraged, right? A lot of judges, a lot of people will say, maybe you should file a motion to reopen first. At our firm, we file a lot of motion reopens and file a lot of AO. And if it gets denied, then you bring it to federal court. But this new program makes it so that you have to do the AO or the motion to reopen first. You have to exhaust the remedies within the agency before bringing to federal court. This sets a really bad precedent for all future immigration policies. The second bad news is that they've officially increased the fees. Before it was $500,000 for the bare minimum. Now they increased it to $800,000. It's a lot of money. But the upper limit is only slightly over $1 million. It used to be potentially like a couple $1 million, but it's set at just slightly over $1 million. The third bad news is that how do you decide if the area you're investing requires an $800,000 investment or slightly over $1 million investment? Well, before it was very, very clear what zone is $800,000 and what zone is $1 million. Now it's extremely unclear. Anytime it's unclear and people are worried about risk, then people are going to choose the safest way, which means instead of trying to invest in an area that is slightly populated, but not, now to be completely safe, you will invest in an area that has super high unemployment. Not like really close to the unemployment rate, but just super high unemployment. That way, guaranteed for sure, it's $800,000. Or else, imagine that, you invest $800,000 and then USCIS comes back a year later, 2 years later saying, should have invested $1 million, sorry, case closed. That would be horrible. And that's it for this video. See you at the next session.